Welcome to Playwrights Roundtable, a half-hour look at our local plays and directors as produced by the organization Playwrights Roundtable. And today I have a heartwarming play about growing old together. And I have the writer with me, and the director, and the actor, Mick Leclair. So we'll talk about the play right after we watch it. Just sit back and relax and enjoy Falling Leaves.
Johnny.
Chester, quit fiddling with that TV remote.
Oh, shut it, Irma. Here's Johnny.
Are you wearing my robe again?
Oh, it helps me get in touch with my feminine side. Shut it, Irma. Here's Johnny. Da-da-da. Who the heck is that? Where the heck is Johnny? Cheese and rice. Another night off?
Well, isn't this a fine way for the two of us to end up?
Oh, shut it, Irma. I don't want to see you end up. Where's Johnny? Who the heck is this monkey, and what the heck is that thing on his face? Is that his nose? Where the heck is Johnny?
He died, Chester, a few years ago. All I was going to say was, this sure is a fine way for the two of us to end up. You watching The Tonight Show, and me reading a magazine. Whatever happened to the good old days, Chester?
Oh, these are the good old days, Irma. What I want to know is whatever happened to the good young days.
Now we're in the autumn of our lives.
Oh, the autumn of our lives. You mean we change color and fall off a tree? Well, this leaf ain't gonna float to the ground.
Of course not. You'll fall fast and hard like a sack of...
Shut it, Irma. Just shut it.
I will. I will just shut it, sit back, and enjoy.
Enjoy what?
My life. That's what I'll enjoy, my life.
Your life? Well, what have you got to enjoy about your life? It's miserable. Look at yourself. Just look at yourself. You're about 100 years old, and you look more like 400. You're hard of hearing in one ear, and you can't hear out of the other, and you're going bald. And in the last 2 weeks, you've had one bowel movement, and now you have to wear a diaper just in case. So how are you going to tell me you're going to enjoy your life? It's miserable.
Well, so I have a few imperfections. So what? I'm happy, I'm content. I'm not like you, Chester, always complaining about this and that, and you do, Chester. You complain about everything.
Oh, shut it, Irma. I'd rather listen to the monkey with the chin than listen to your yapping. Oh, what the heck are you so happy about? What have you got to be happy about? Look at us. Getting old stinks. The only thing we do in bed anymore is fight. I watch Johnny and you...
I already told you, dear, Johnny's dead.
Oh, you're dead. I watch Johnny and you read a magazine. Whatever happened to the good young days when the magazine stayed on the dresser and Johnny did the show without me?
Oh, Chester, well, you haven't gone wild on me in over 20 years. Remember, we used to turn off all the lights and make L-O-V-E with a candle burning. Remember, Chester?
Yes, I remember, Chester.
Whatever happened to those good old days, Chester?
Well, the candle's here, but the fire ain't. We haven't lit a candle in a long, long time.
Oh, it's not because I didn't want to. You, all of a sudden, you couldn't, and our sex life was over. No sex for Irma. Chester's tired. No sex for Irma. Chester had a hard day at work. There's just one little thing that would have made it a bit more joyous. Oh, a bit more pleasurable.
Oh, Irma, I am warning you, do not say it. Do not say it.
A baby.
Oh, you said it, Irma. You
child.
said it. Oh, Irma.
Perhaps a son or a daughter or a...
Oh, there is no aura. You either have a son or a daughter. After that, you start getting into dogs and cats and rats and things like that, which in my opinion are just as good, if not better, than children.
No, Chester. We've had plenty of cats and dogs, and they haven't been the same. No, they haven't been the same at all.
Oh, Irma, you treated those ding-dong dogs like they were children. You used to say, Chester, don't hit the baby. Chester, give the baby a kiss. Oh, and then you'd have that dog kiss me on the lips and it had just licked its own butt. Oh, they were just like children to you, Irma. Butt-licking children. Ugh.
But it wasn't the same. No. It wasn't the same at all. And where are they now? Where are all those cats and dogs I treated like children? Where are they now that we need to be taken care of? Where?
Dead. The whole lot of them just up and died. Without warning, they just died.
Why didn't you give me any children, Chester?
Because back then, Irma, I couldn't pry that thing of yours open with a crowbar.
Now that's not true.
Oh, Irma, you held on to that thing like it was the last one and you were saving it for the Smithsonian.
That's a lie. It was you. You were always too tired.
That's it, Irma. Turn off the lights and light the candle.
Oh, please don't make me laugh.
Come on, baby, light my fire.
It'd kill you for sure. Besides, the matches are in the kitchen and it's much too cold to get out of bed. But let's just forget it, Chester.
And baby, we're dancing in the dark.
Oh, are you sure you remember where everything is?
I think I have an idea. I don't have any protection, but I think we'll be okay.
But I want a baby.
Oh, cheese and rice, Irma. Do the show without me, Johnny. Now, Irma, turn the lights off and let me turn you on.
I can't wait to call Myrtle in the morning and tell her all about this. I just know this is going to be a waste of time. I just know it.
I'm too sexy for my wife, too sexy for my hip. Oh, my hip.
Chester, are you all right?
Oh, I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm all right. Oh, my. Oh.
I'm turning on
Turn
the
on the light. Turn on the light. Oh. Oh.
What happened?
Oh, my God. We're not even facing the same way.
Well, let's just forget about it and get some sleep. I think I might read a bit before I go to sleep. Wait. I just remembered something. Well, I thought of it this morning and only now remembered. Chester, what's today's date?
I don't know. The 5th.
Of what? What month is it?
Decemberary. Why?
The 5th. It's our wedding anniversary. 75 years ago today, Chester, we were wed. Remember our wedding night, Chester? Why, we must have burnt 10 candles that night. Remember?
Remember? My eyebrows are still singed. We've had a great start, Toots. It's been a wonderful ride. 75 wonderful years. I'm glad I married you, Irma. You've been a good and faithful wife.
Yeah, about that. Now, Chester, don't get angry, but you weren't the first.
Second?
Who's counting? All the others don't matter.
All the others? How many others have there been, you mother-flying floozy?
Chester? How can you call me such a horrible name? I'm your wife, and I have been faithful to you for 73 years.
We've been married 75. This marriage isn't working out. I want a divorce.
Chester, calm down. Did you take your pills?
Oh, leave me alone, you hussy. I'm very disappointed in you, Irma. Very disappointed.
Chester, I never cheated on you. You're the first and only man I've ever loved or been with.
Liar, liar, diaper on fire.
Chester, remember when you had your heart attack? I thought you were going to die on me and break us up. I prayed to St. Jude that night and begged him not to take you away from me. I couldn't stand the thought of going on without you, without the only man I've ever loved. I made up a story about other men to see your reaction. It's nice to know you still have a little passion. Be it love or hate, it's still passion.
Really, Irma, I'm the only one?
The only one.
I'm glad I married you, Irma Heard. I really am.
It seems like it never even happened.
What's that, Irma?
Our lives? It's all gone by so fast. Like none of it ever happened at all. Like this is all our lives ever were, and what came before is just a memory. Like a movie to watch, over and over. A movie with no ending. When will it ever end, Chester?
I don't know, Irma. I just don't know. Lord knows we've been on this earth long enough. Feels like a couple 100 years for me and probably twice that for you.
39.
Oh, Irma.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, Irma. Listen, make sure you take your pills before you go to sleep tonight. You may be a mother-flying floozy, but you're my mother-flying floozy, and I want to keep you around. I love you, Irma Heard, and I need you.
Oh, Chester, that's the best anniversary present you've ever given me.
Irma, I have been giving you that every day of our lives for 75 years.
I know, but after 75 years, it's nice to hear you say it.
Hey, what do you say in another 75 years we try to light the candle again?
It's a date.
Well, I better get some sleep, Irma. I got a big day in the morning. I think I'm gonna get up early and go fishing with my grandfather.
Chester.
Good night, Irma.
Phil.
I'm gonna go fishing with my grandfather and Johnny.
Chester.
Good night, Irma.
Goodbye, Chester.
Sunburned hands I used to hold. The falling leaves.
That was very bittersweet, that ending. I wasn't expecting that. It was so hilarious all the way through, and then she passes away. So I'd like to talk to you about that. We're going to take a short intermission and come back and have a conversation with Mick Leclair, the writer, director, and actor in Falling Leaves.
Kisses, the sunburned hands I used to hold.
Whatever happened to the good old days, Chester?
Oh, these are the good old days, Irma. What I want to know is whatever happened to the good young days.
Now we're in the autumn of our lives.
Oh, the autumn of our lives. You mean we change color and fall off a tree? Well, this leaf ain't gonna float to the ground.
You've just seen another quick clip from Falling Leaves, a play starring, written, and directed by Mick Leclair. And I have Mick here with me today. Mick, tell me a little bit about your inspiration for Falling Leaves. It was a wonderful play. It almost seems like you had some parents that maybe gave you the inspiration for it.
Well, actually, it was my grandfather. My when I was growing up, my grandfather was really was my best friend. We grew up in New Hampshire, and he had a little camp in Francistown, New Hampshire, that I used to go to. Up until I was, I think, 20 years old, I would go spend 2 weeks every summer with him. And, of course, I never got a glimpse into his bedroom, but he always had stories of all kinds that he would always tell me. And I picked those up, and I put him down as sort of a little homage to him. I just adored the man, and just to keep him going.
So he told you stories about growing old?
Oh, he told me stories of everything. He told me stories of the beginning of the world and the end of the world and everything in between, and always had a great story about everything.
And Irma, is she a little bit like your mother, your grandmother?
No, actually, never knew my grandmother. She passed before I was born, but I just kind of like to take situations of the elderly, which is odd. Well, not odd now that I'm getting up there myself, but I just like to take stories about them and, of course, fabricate them and just kind of their struggles and what they have to deal with. My grandfather actually, in his later years, lived in a retirement village kind of setting or apartment building, and there were all kinds of crazy old people there that were just, the stories are just endless, just endless.
Now, you chose to wear 3 hats, and typically when we have playwrights on, we have the playwright and we have the director, and kind of get a little insight as to how it's written, and then letting go and letting the director take the vision. You had to do both. Why did you choose to do that?
Because I wanted it done right.
Okay.
not to sound conceited, and I know a lot of playwrights or directors or actors don't want to be in any of their own things, which is actually a little odd, because every writer who acts and directs, when he sits down to write the piece, has himself in mind for the lead. I honestly believe that, because we want to be the total part of creating that piece.
And you're writing from inspiration, which is usually taken from something in your life.
Exactly, exactly.
So how challenging was that to really put yourself in the role of each, especially when you had to focus on your acting?
Well, what made it very easy was working with Heather Ross, who played Irma. She was so receptive to the idea of going into a project where the writer was the director and was the actor. And it can get a little crazy sometimes when you're lying in a bed next to someone telling them how to do it and they're not telling you. But Heather really helped me a lot with this. We sort of co-directed it. We knew what we wanted. She read the script. She knew exactly what I wanted from it, and we just went from there. I've seen Heather in many things in Orlando, and I think she is one of the, if not the best actress I've ever seen. I've seen her play young parts, playing a child all the way up to Irma, and in my mind there was just no one else.
What I liked about it was how she was in character the whole time. When we were taping the show, the play, she stayed in that character, so I wasn't sure if she was really an elderly woman or not. She's wonderful with that. That's a good quality. It
is a great quality. We obviously have different acting styles because I don't stay in the character. She gets into character about an hour before and stays in character about an hour later, which is good because then I can get away from her. I can run down the street and she won't follow me because she can't.
Chester, remember when you had your heart attack? I thought you were going to die on me and break us up. I prayed to St. Jude that night and begged him not to take you away from me. I couldn't stand the thought of going on without you, without the only man I've ever loved. Chester, you're the only man for me. You'll always be the only man for me.
So which do you prefer, the writing or the acting or the directing?
I think I prefer the writing more, only because I'm left alone. I can just sit back, write it, and I don't have to worry about performance or someone not accepting exactly what I want them to do. So I really am kind of a shy person. I like to be left alone is the case of it. Yeah. So well, writing would probably be my favorite.
You certainly couldn't tell it, not from your presence in the play. That was really hilarious. Now, we did have to edit a lot of it.
Yes.
For those who saw it in the theater, they were able to see it in its true form. A lot of the language we had to reduce for television. Yes. What was that like for you, having to go back in and revise your production? Did it change it for you at all?
No, not really. And I think the revisions took me all of about 5 minutes to do. I sat down with Heather and I said, don't say that, say this, go to this, cut that, just do that. And we both realized that it was now more for a general audience and I don't want to say mature audience, but the live version, the stage version, it was a little more risque. No, it just took a couple of minutes actually of Heather and I just sitting down and saying we'll do this and we'll do that, and I don't think it lost any of its hilarity, if I can be so bold as to say. It was just different.
Mm-hmm. How did the audience react to it? That was, the night we watched it, it was just one laugh after another. I think we had an elderly gentleman behind us who really could identify with it because he was laughing louder than anybody in the theater. What were some of the feedback that you got?
The feedback, and again, I don't want to sound conceited, but they just said it was hysterical. They loved it. They could have watched it forever, and that did nothing but make me feel great because Falling Leaves is actually one of a trilogy. And I always thought it was the weakest one in the trilogy. And now it's proving not to be.
Well, tell me about the trilogy. Is that the last of the three?
No, it's actually the first. It's the trilogy is, and actually 2 of these are going to be performed for Fringe this year. Falling Leaves is the first. The second is Mr. Rose's Bird, which again, an old couple, not a married couple, just friends. It's a story of Margot and Milo, and Margot is absolutely nuts and lives with plastic birds and plastic cats and plastic dogs. And Milo is more in the real world. And they get into their little confrontations there over senility. And the third one is V. Gates Isaac, which is 2 very old Jewish men living together who had been together since boyhood and grew up in the old country and in Germany and were put in concentration camps together and now live in the same retirement village that the other parts of the play live in. And basically one's a playboy and the other is just a sickly old man who lives in the past. But
And those are going to be for the Fringe
Well,
this
we're
year.
not, yeah, Mr. Rose's Bird and Falling Leaves will be together. V. Gates Isaac will not be there.
Now, sometimes writers don't really want to get into a lot of the reasons why they make certain choices, kind of leave it up to the viewer's interpretation, but I really have to ask you, why did you choose to have Irma pass away in the end?
Because I think, like in life, anything can happen in a snap of a finger. You could be going along, everything could be great, and then it happens. And I just think they got to the point. Chester and Irma have been together, it was their 75th wedding anniversary, and it just ended. It just ended. I think I got to show the audience, I think, a loving old couple. I mean, I think they were very endearing, and it does just happen that quickly. And she was gone.
Yes, it was kind of heartwarming and surprising at the end. The audience just goes silent. I don't think anyone was expecting that.
No, no, and that's one of the clinches. Give them the unexpected.
So now that you're involved in Playwrights a little bit more with the Fringe and with the launch for this year, how do you see the organization working for you? What kind of accomplishments do you see you have with this organization?
With Playwrights Roundtable, I think bringing new works to an area is far more fascinating than seeing an old show that's been done a million times performed again. I think people want to see new things. And these 10-minute plays or the short festivals kind of remind me a little bit of vaudeville. Back when you would go and you wouldn't have to sit there for 2 hours on one story, but you could see many different stories and keep you entertained. You might have a very nice comedy or a very serious drama, something touching, something just wacky. And I hope to work with Playwrights Roundtable for the rest of my career.
Well, we hope you do too, because your plays are wonderful. I'd like to check out the ones at the Fringe this year as well.
Please do.
Is there any message that you were trying to leave your audience with Falling Leaves? I mean, yes, it's just it's a snapshot of a couple growing old together and what home life might be like at night, but there seem to be some other underlining meanings there.
Well, you know, I think everyone has grandparents or has had grandparents or an elderly couple they know, and I think everybody wonders, you know, what goes on when Grandma puts the tea kettle away, you know? And what goes on when Grandpa shuts off the TV and they do get into bed at night? You know, not that we want to delve too much into their personal life, but I think sometimes we think once someone gets to a certain age, that's it. Their life is over and they're just sweet and kind or mean and rotten.
Or just living in a retirement home.
Yeah, and not doing anything, just waking up and falling asleep. And I think it kind of gives them the idea that they're still alive and kicking and, you know, give them some privacy, stay away.
Well, thank you for giving our audience a perspective on what it's like growing old. I really found it absolutely charming, and I hope that you'll be back on Playwrights Roundtable again, sharing one of your new plays with us.
I hope so too.
Great, wonderful. We hope you enjoyed Falling Leaves, and come back and join us again for another play with Playwrights Roundtable. We'll see you again soon. Take care.
Of this and that, and cocktails for two, as we enjoy a cigarette.
Playwrights Roundtable provides opportunities for authors to have their work read by professional actors. Members of Playwrights Roundtable have seen their works go from cold readings to workshop productions and on to successful full productions. If you love the craft, Playwrights Roundtable is the place. For more information, contact Playwrights Roundtable at 407-788-8468 or check out the website www.playwrightsroundtable.org.